After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
Be doing so much and running, and it just really dawned on me. It's the man that my mom was underage when she consumed me. Anyone who'd have been older than mom always told me. My mom always gave me a hint that my father wasn't my father, and she told me exactly who my father was.
Allegedly pulling every trick in the book to dodge a DNA test that could reveal he's got a secret son. Yep, just days before the test was supposed to happen, he reportedly tried to wipe Rymir out of the picture like he was never even there. And just when you thought this year couldn't get any more insane, boom! Rymir's legal guardian shows up with the scalding hot tea, spilling every juicy detail. We're talking drama hotter than Beyoncé's stage lights. And honestly, we're living for it. So grab your snacks, because this story is just getting started.
I never asked for money. I don't do interviews just saying, hey, Jay-Z, give me your money, or I'm coming at the Jay-Z for his money. I never did that. I'm not that type of person. I'm not trying to make nobody seem like a bad person or nothing. I'm just really coming out here for the truth. I don't want no money or anything. I wasn't looking for none of that. I just want to know the truth. And if I can't go to the courts and get the truth, like, what is it really? Why are you? What is it? I just really want it over. It's something that's really affecting my life, and I just want it over with.
Now, for those of you who may not know the latest tea in the entertainment industry, well, let me give you a heads up, because this one's been simmering for years, and it's finally boiling over. So here's the backstory. There's this guy named Rymir Satterthwaite, and for over a decade, he and his family have been claiming that Jay-Z is his biological father. Yep, you heard that right. Rymir's been on a mission, not for fame, not for clout, but for something way deeper, the truth. And according to him, it all started when his mother, Wanda, allegedly had a secret fling with Jay-Z back in the early 90s, before he became Mr. Carter, before Beyoncé, before the Empire. But here's where it gets messier than a reality show reunion. Jay-Z has allegedly refused to take a DNA test for years. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. And every time the door gets slammed shut, court records disappear. And legal moves get played like a chess game in hell. Rymir even says legal documents mysteriously vanished during the case. Like what? Oh, and get this. Rymir isn't asking for money. No lawsuits for cash. No claims to the Carter fortune. The man literally just wants closure. He wants to know if the man dominating Forbes' list is the same man who's missing from his birth certificate. And now, with his legal guardian speaking out, it's looking like Jay-Z's alleged efforts to avoid that test are finally being dragged into the spotlight. According to fresh court filings, Rymir and his legal guardian are now accusing Jay-Z of years of legal dodging, intimidation, and behind-the-scenes maneuvering. We're talking about jurisdiction battles, sealed documents, and a legal paper trail that's more twisted than a Netflix thriller. At one point, Rymir even claimed that people started following him. His car got mysteriously shot up, and certain files tied to the case suspiciously vanished. Like, what's going on here? Is this just coincidence, or is someone trying to keep the lid on a very expensive secret? Now, here's where it really hits the boiling point. Despite over 10 years of legal back and forth, Jay-Z still hasn't agreed to a DNA test. No swab, no confirmation, no closure. His team recently responded to Rymir's most recent lawsuit by calling the entire thing harassment and fabricated allegations. They even asked the court for more time to respond, saying they only found out about the case in June, but this case has been dragging since the MySpace era. What makes this even more wild is that Rymir isn't just some random clout chaser. He's a grown man with a quiet life, and he's not chasing headlines. He says this isn't about money, it's about identity. Imagine going through life, wondering if one of the most powerful men in the world is your father, and every time you knock, the door gets slammed in your face. Meanwhile, Jay-Z has kept a heavy silence. No statements, no interviews, just court filings and legal blocks. And that silence? It's loud. Loud enough to split fans right down the middle. Some defending HOV, others calling him out, saying it's time to man up and just take the test. What makes it even more ironic is how he publicly speaks out about his so-called firstborn, Blue Ivy, with pride, love, and legacy. But what about the child who's been begging for acknowledgement for over a decade?
Blue What makes me super like proud and like, you know, I still get goosebumps seeing her walk on stage is because Blue's been born into this world that she didn't act. She's been born into a life she didn't act. So since she was born, she's been in like public eye and everyone having an opinion of, you know, even a little girl, how she keeps her hair. So for her to be on that stage and reclaim her power, and the song is called My Power, and like it just, you can't write a better script. And then watching her grow in it. You know, she came out, she's 80,000 people, she's 11, so she's nervous. She's looking like,
was she nervous?
I know her.
She didn't look nervous.
I know her.
Yeah, I know
so
you
I
do.
know how nervous she was. You know, I know how frightened she was. She wanted to do it, and she worked every day and watched her work hard. She had like a little icy pack thing on her back some days.
But wait, that's not even the wildest part. Now we've got new reports swirling online about Rymir's late mother, Wanda, and how young she was when she allegedly got pregnant by Jay-Z. And when I say young, I mean 15 or 16 years old. If that's true, it completely changes the game and explains why Jay-Z might be doing everything to avoid taking that test. Because if the timeline adds up, it wouldn't just be a paternity scandal, it would raise some seriously dark questions about statutory stuff that Jay-Z's been accused of for years but is always brushed off. Let's be real. This isn't the first time people have whispered about Jay-Z's alleged history with younger women. But this would be explosive. And it adds even more fire to the theory that Jay-Z's not just dodging the test for image reasons. He might be trying to keep something much darker from surfacing. This whole situation is insane when you break it all down. Rymir has been saying for years that Jay-Z is his dad. He's filed suits. He's submitted court papers. He's tried every legal route possible. But Jay-Z, he's been swerving the situation harder than a getaway car, allegedly using his wealth, lawyers, and power to silence the case at every turn. And what makes fans give major side-eye? If Jay-Z's really not the father, why not just take the test and be done with it? It's literally a swab, a few seconds, boom, case closed. But nope, instead, he's been shelling out big bucks to avoid that very thing. And now the tables have turned. Multiple outlets confirmed that a judge gave the green light for Rymir's paternity test to finally move forward, which means Jay-Z's team can no longer ghost the legal system. He now has to respond, like officially. So why won't Jay just do it? Some say it's to protect his brand as a changed man, a faithful husband who's moved on from his cheating days and is now all about family. Others believe it's pride or ego or just straight up stubbornness. But the most disturbing theory, that Jay-Z's refusal is tied to the age of Rymir's mom at the time of conception. For the record, this all goes back to 2015, when Rymir and his legal guardian, Lily, who's also a paralegal, first took the matter to court. They claimed Jay-Z had a relationship with Wanda back in the early 90s. But according to Lily, Jay-Z's team presented false info in court, which helped them get the case dismissed. Still, Rymir didn't give up. In 2018, The Sun reported that he filed new documents accusing Jay-Z of using his fame and fortune to avoid the paternity test for over 8 years.
I don't know how he feeling. Like I would hope he would think about it and this would be in his mind, but I wouldn't actually know what.
According to a source close to Dr. Lily Colley, the woman who became Rymir's legal guardian after his mother passed away, strange and unsettling events began unfolding the moment they refiled the lawsuit in New Jersey. It wasn't just legal resistance. They claim it felt like psychological warfare. Men in unmarked cars started lingering outside their home. Phone calls came at odd hours, and unfamiliar vehicles trespassed onto their lawn in the dead of night. What was once a quiet legal case suddenly started to feel like a thriller novel. Only this wasn't fiction. Dr. Coley described the sensation of a shadow descending over her and Rymir's lives, and said they both feared for their safety. Some insiders even alleged that a former Roc Nation associate hinted Jay-Z would do whatever it takes to make the problem disappear. And then, as if timed to silence the case, Rymir collapsed. He was hospitalized, and for the first time in over a decade, all legal proceedings came to an eerie halt. Now, skeptics might call it coincidence. A few spooky events don't amount to hard evidence. But when you pair those events with a lawsuit that's been dodged, delayed, and buried for years, it's hard not to raise an eyebrow. Rumors have swirled that Jay-Z allegedly sent people to pressure Rymir into dropping the case, not through a settlement or conversation, but through intimidation. No names, no formal connection, just fear. And fear, as we all know, doesn't leave fingerprints. What adds even more heat to the fire is that Jay-Z was recently added to a civil lawsuit that originally targeted Sean Diddy Combs. The plaintiff, identified only as Jane Doe, accused both men of essaying her when she was just 13. Jay-Z's legal team denied the claims, calling them baseless and designed to extort. But Rymir didn't stay silent. He released a statement pointing out the glaring contradiction. Jay-Z publicly claimed to protect children and stand on principles of honor, yet Rymir argues he can't even take a simple DNA test to resolve a decades-long paternity claim. If there's nothing to hide, why not take the test? Because instead of resolving it with a swab and a signature, Jay-Z's legal team has spent years buried in jurisdictional arguments, bouncing the case between Pennsylvania and New Jersey like a game of legal ping pong. At one point, Jay-Z's attorney reportedly told the court he didn't own any property in New Jersey, only to later admit that was false. In most cases, knowingly giving false information in court is considered fraud. But in this case, nothing happened. No sanctions, no retribution, just another brick in the wall that seemed designed to keep Rymir shut out. Now, according to both Wanda and her legal guardian, she met Jay-Z in 1992 when she was just 15 or 16 years old. They allegedly had a brief fling in a Brooklyn apartment, and despite using protection, she later discovered she was pregnant. After that night, Wanda said she never saw Jay-Z again and had no way to reach him. When her son Rymir was around 8 years old, she sat him down and told him who she believed his father was. She never changed her story, not once. As Wanda's health declined, she fought to bring the case to court. She passed away in 2019, never seeing a resolution. Her death wasn't suspicious on paper, but friends close to her say she spent her final months overwhelmed, afraid, and convinced her son would never get the truth. It's been rumored she had begun writing a memoir, something raw and unfiltered about her story with Jay-Z. That manuscript, if it existed, has never been found. Whether it was completed or destroyed remains a mystery. But after her death, Rymir took up the fight, becoming the torchbearer of a truth that only grew more difficult to chase. In 2018, Rymir's legal filings accused Jay-Z's team of doing something unthinkable, allegedly coercing Wanda into signing legal documents while she was still in the hospital, recovering from a medically induced coma. Those documents reportedly replaced Lily Colley on the legal petition, making it easier to stall or dismiss the case. And sure enough, the court tossed it out once again. But then things took a darker turn. Rymir and Dr. Colley appeared in Hip Hop News Uncensored and shared their belief that they were being watched, harassed, even hunted. One of the most chilling claims? Rymir's car was shot up in the parking lot, his car alone out of several vehicles. Around the same time, strangers started showing up at Lily's home, knocking on her door at 4 a.m, circling the property, driving on the grass. Was it intimidation, coincidence, or something more calculated? Dr. Colley believes the fight isn't just against Jay-Z, but against a justice system that bends for the rich and powerful. She's pushing for legislative reform through something she calls Pro Se Legal Mistreatment Act, meant to protect people from being steamrolled by legal loopholes and backroom deals. But according to her, this case has been lost in court by law. It's been buried by design. One of the most alarming aspects is under New Jersey law, if someone refuses a court-ordered paternity test, they are presumed to be the father. Let that sink in. Rymir has requested the test repeatedly, while Jay-Z's team has fought tooth and nail to avoid it. By the law's own standard, Jay-Z would already be recognized as the legal father, yet the fight rages on, still unresolved. While all of this is happening, the silence from Jay-Z himself grows more deafening. He's never addressed Rymir publicly, never written him, never acknowledged the case beyond legal filings. For someone who built an empire with words, his refusal to utter even one sentence on the matter says a lot. And that silence is heavy enough to carry the weight of legacy, image, power, and fear. Jay-Z is no longer just a rapper. He's a billionaire brand, a husband to Beyoncé, a father of 3, and the face of multiple corporations. If the allegations were ever proven, that he fathered a child with an underage girl and then spent decades hiding it, the fallout wouldn't just affect him, it would rattle an empire. And then there's Aaliyah. Though unrelated, the parallels between her story and Rymir's are eerily haunting. Aaliyah died on a plane crash in 2001 under circumstances that many fans and conspiracy theorists have questioned for years. Overloaded aircraft, improper paperwork, a pilot reportedly under the influence, and disturbing rumors that she voiced concerns about the flight, or worse, was sedated and carried on board unconscious. Jay-Z's name often comes up in whispers about that era, not because he was involved in the crash, but because of his alleged pursuit of Aaliyah before Dame Dash entered the picture. While no credible evidence has ever connected him to that tragedy, the pattern of powerful men, vulnerable stars, and the sudden silence is hard to ignore. Which brings us back to Beyoncé. While she has remained publicly uninvolved in the paternity drama, sources close to the case claim she has attended private legal briefings and has even had a say in the Carter family's media strategy. Allegedly, she pushed for more aggressive PR efforts when Rymir's lawsuit began gaining public traction. Beyoncé has built her brand on justice, motherhood, and empowerment. But is she protecting her family's image at the cost of someone else's truth? The timing of everything is deeply suspicious. Just days before Rymir refiled his latest lawsuit, Jay-Z's name was added to the civil case involving Diddy, 2 separate allegations involving minors, 2 separate lawsuits, but both linked to a man who has built an empire on control of music, narrative, and public perception. The legal pattern is undeniable. Jay-Z's team has worked nonstop to seal records, block testimony, and argue against jurisdiction. The case has been dragged out for over a decade, not because of lack of evidence, but because of how skillfully it's been sidestepped. Rymir is now 32. He's not a child chasing headlines. He's a grown man who says he only wants one thing, the truth. He's never asked for money, never demanded fame, just an answer. Yet despite all of his persistence, he's faced courtrooms that lock him out, lawyers who lie under oath, and legal teams that seem to build walls instead of seeking resolution. What more does he have to prove? Legal experts have called this case a cautionary tale, a real-time display of how justice can bend when wealth enters the room. Judges have recused themselves without explanation. Sanctions have been issued against Rymir's legal team without cause. Critical evidence has disappeared into sealed archives, never to be seen again. It feels like every road was designed to end in a dead end. This isn't just about paternity anymore. It's about how far someone will go to protect the legacy. It's about what happens when ordinary people step up to challenge the machine, and what that machine does in response. Whether this case ends with justice or another sealed file, one thing is certain. The cracks in the Carter kingdom are beginning to show. And somewhere in that silence, the truth is waiting to speak. The bigger question that now looms over all of this: if Rymir loses this fight, whether through legal defeat, exhaustion, or worse, what happens to the truth he's been chasing all these years? Does it disappear with him, or will it light a fire in others who've stayed quiet in the shadows? Because Rymir may not be the only one. For every silenced voice by money or power, there may be others still gathering the courage to speak. And if even one of those voices rises up, then perhaps this battle won't be in vain. Because truth, no matter how long it's buried, has a way of finding air. Whether whispered in a courtroom or shouted from a hospital bed, the truth is stirring, and it's not done speaking yet. And maybe that's what those people in power fear the most. Not the lawsuits, not the headlines, but the ripple effect of one person refusing to be silenced. Because once the mask slips, and once the cracks start to show, the empire doesn't fall from the outside, it implodes from within. Rymir may not have the fame or fortune, but what he holds might just be stronger than both, a story that refuses to die. And that alone could change everything. On top of everything, Jay-Z now finds himself tangled in another storm, one that's not just about him. As Diddy's empire crumbles under explosive lawsuits and jaw-dropping allegations, Jay-Z's name has already been whispered in the shadows, with some reports even pulling him into the same legal mess. Critics are watching closely, and some believe it's only a matter of time before the spotlight shifts fully onto Jay-Z. And if that happens, Rymir might finally get the moment he's waited for his entire life. Because when a public figure starts taking hits from all directions, the shield of power begins to crack. If Jay-Z is forced to face deeper scrutiny, especially regarding past actions and associations, that could be the window of truth Rymir's been hoping for. Not out of revenge, not out of malice, but for closure, for acknowledgement, for peace. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Is Rymir really Jay-Z's biological firstborn son? Or is this just a case of mistaken identity, tangled in decades of silence and legal smoke? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it.